Welcome to the Workforce Solutions Capital Area YouTube channel. My name is Jessica Garay, and I'm the Data and Career Awareness Project Coordinator with Workforce Solutions Capital Area. And you're joining us today for a unique webinar series with individuals with the City of Austin to discuss their career pathway and their educational journey to their current position with the city. And today we have two special guests with us, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to them so they can introduce themselves.
Hi, good morning. My name is Janet Silva, and I'm with the City of Austin. I am a human resource consultant of diversity recruiting initiatives for the City of Austin and pretty much liaison with the departments. Very excited to be here this morning and share a little bit about the City of Austin workforce with everyone and just bring our workforce back into the classroom. So we are very excited to be here today. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And hi, my name is Marisa Flores-Gonzalez. I'm the Water Resources and Supply Program Manager in the Systems Planning Division at Austin Water, the water utility for the City of Austin. I've been with the city for about 6 years, and I'm really excited to be here, really excited to share more about what we do at Austin Water.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being a part of this video. We are very excited to learn more about what it is that you do. So you did mention you're with the city for 6 years. You want to tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got connected with Austin Water?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been working in water, wastewater, and stormwater utilities for probably the past 10 years now. I joined the city about 6 years ago as a planner, working in our systems planning division. And I was doing a lot of work with population and employment projections to inform water demands for infrastructure planning and supply planning. And got rolled into this new water forward integrated water resource plan that we were developing at the time. We started that process in late 2014, early 2015, and I was a part of the team developing that plan, working with the citizen task force and other city departments. And over time, as we were moving through that process, became the project manager for the development of our integrated water resource plan, and then emerged into this role for as a program manager over water rights and supply planning, including our integrated water resource planning process. So it's been a journey with Austin Water, and I'm still really excited every day about the work that I get to do there. So it's been a great experience.
Awesome. That sounds like you are responsible for a lot of planning for water in the Austin area. Now, if you don't mind kind of sharing in layman's terms what the plan kind of looks like and what some of your typical workday or main responsibilities are.
Sure. So the plan is really just a guiding strategy for how we manage water resources at the City of Austin. It's a plan that lays out our water management activities over the much longer term, over the course of 100 years, but then it also has really specific strategies to implement within the shorter term. From a high level, it includes strategies like conservation or reducing our water demand, reuse, being able to offset the use of potable water by using something like our centralized reclaim system or rainwater harvesting at the on-site level to be able to meet a non-potable water demand with a non-potable water source. And then the plan also looks at ways that we can protect our core Colorado River supplies. We get all of our drinking water from the Colorado River and the Highland Lakes, and that's a very important source of supply to us. So we, of course, want to work with all of our regional partners to protect that water supply. And then the plan includes strategies to build additional resiliency to drought and climate change through drought supplies like something that's going to sound pretty technical, aquifer storage and recovery, or indirect potable reuse. And those are strategies that just help us to make use of water when we need it. So aquifer storage and recovery, for example, we can take water from the Colorado River during wet times. We treat that water to potable drinking water standards. We convey that water via pipeline, inject it underground via a well, and then that water is safe from evaporation. And if we need it in a drought or in a dry time, we're able to pull that water back out, and we can do some additional treatment and use it within our potable distribution system. So those are the types of projects and strategies that we work on. We work with all parts of the utility. I mentioned our conservation programs. We work with our conservation division. We work with our reclaim water planning division. We work with our facilities engineering groups. We work with finance. We work with our public information office, because there's a large community engagement aspect to all of this planning and implementation. We work closely with other city departments, and then we also work quite a bit with outside stakeholders, outside organizations. And that's part of why the job is so fun, because we are always kind of, we have our large guiding strategy, but every day brings something new. And we get to work on a lot of different things and develop relationships with lots of different folks.
Wow, that sounds like a really neat position. Mm-hmm. So thank you for sharing kind of the strategic plan and sharing it in layman's terms. I really appreciate it. So tell me like what a typical workday looks like if you go into the office, and I know it may vary, but kind of just break that down for us a little bit.
Yeah, so a typical workday it's different every day, of course, but in a day we'll typically have meetings with our team to talk about analysis projects that we're working on. Maybe we're looking at some analysis project related to climate impacts on hydrology. And we've got team members who are doing some of the technical work to move that forward. So maybe that might include looking at the results of a water availability model run. So that's that would be a model that you run on a computer to simulate water running through the Colorado River and how that's available to users of that water supply. So we may be looking at an Excel spreadsheet or some other sort of summary document explaining to us what that model is telling us. And all of that data and information will help us to make recommendations about different strategies that we should pursue. Maybe we should talk with our partners about, increasing some level of conservation. Maybe we should talk about, incorporating some new strategies into another planning process that we're working on with our regional partners. So those are the types of work that we do. It's all grounded in a lot of technical analysis. So we end up looking at a lot of numbers and a lot of outputs, and you have to kind of have mental models built in your mind for how all of these outputs relate to one another, because all of that data and information then informs basically policy decisions and recommendations that we make to our management and to our executive team, and recommendations that we would make to outside stakeholders as well.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of meetings, a lot of kind of reviewing those results. There's a huge communication aspect to it, even though there's this, very large technical component as well.
Wow. So that actually is kind of a good segue into the next two questions I have. And I'm gonna jump ahead and ask about the technical skills required. So what technical skills and soft skills are required to do your position? And then I'm going to follow up with what level of education and training would one need to be in a position just like yours?
Yeah, I think an engineering background is really helpful for this type of work. I work with a lot of engineers. I work with a lot of scientists, folks who have a background in hydrology, geology, or other sciences, climatology. That said, I'm not an engineer. And I don't have a formal science background. I have a bachelor's of arts in geography and the environment from the University of Texas, and I have a master's in public administration from Texas State University. that I got while I was working. So, that doesn't necessarily align with kind of the traditional background for somebody who would have this position. Um, I think that over time I was able to, with the foundation that I had from my undergraduate degree and kind of the technical pieces and kind of an analysis mindset, I was able to learn a lot of the things that I needed to know to be able to effectively fill this role. Um, and so, if someone was interested in filling a role similar to this, experience is really required to make up for the lack of formal engineering training. Um, I think that, having the ability to understand the quantitative analysis components is really important. And so, whether or not you have that formal training, that's just going to be a must. But there's also, other skills that are necessary for this type of role that are related to being able to synthesize information from lots of different fields and industries, being able to pull together kind of disparate data points. You're looking at something from, a really hard science kind of field, and pulling that together with something that's maybe from more of a social sciences background. You have to have the ability to be kind of a connector and pull all of those different things together so that you can make sense of it for somebody who is most likely a decision maker, is not going to have the kind of technical or scientific background that your technical staff does. So that communication aspect, that ability to understand, digest, and communicate outwards is extremely important as well. And then just the project management skills are extremely important. I really wish that that project management skills were taught in kind of, not K through 12 education, just because it is so important. The ability to basically eat the elephant and figure out, that's done one bite at a time, and figure out how to take some sort of very large task and break that down to its component parts. Understand, in what sequence those tasks need to be done, who needs to do those tasks. Understanding what your resources are and how you can best use those resources is an extremely important part of this. And being able to understand how you coordinate across lots of different folks who have lots of different workloads, lots of different foci, and who also have different vested interests in the work that you're doing. So that, there's the project management skills, and then the relationship building skills as well that are also extremely important to be able to really value what everyone has to bring to the table, to understand how you can really bring out those, those skills that everyone brings to the table in the best way, and how you can build folks on your team so that they can really blossom into, a really strong team, and so that you can all work together in the best way that you can. There's a really wide range of skills for this type of work, ranging from the technical, to the project management, to the kind of relationship building skills, and that's true of most jobs within the public sector, I think, because the public sector is all about people, even while we're doing all the different types of work we do.
Yeah. Thank you. That was a good overview. I want to, one point that you made was communication being a skill set that's required for this. And one thing I was thinking of is you have to speak with policymakers, engineers, data analysts, public. So you definitely have to have the ability to translate information, maybe technical terminology, to policymakers or public through to the public through your communications team, so they know why you made that decision, why it's best for our community. So I think that's a unique role of yours, and it does sound like you definitely have to understand individuals and build strong relationships that build trust.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for that. So you mentioned project management, and I know there may be some other preparation that's required for students K through 12 or even college. But for a teacher, what kind of lesson plans or preparation would you suggest that they do in the classroom for their students?
Yeah, I think having a large project that a student has to complete over a longer period of time is a really valuable exercise. So, like something that's maybe over the course of 2 months, that a student has to understand that there is a process to get there. They have to kind of lay out, develop their plan, understand what the resources are. Maybe it's just a big research paper, and they have to understand what their sources are, what they're going to be able to get through within a certain amount of time. Understand like developing certain drafts and getting that reviewed and kind of going back through an editing process. Like developing that sort of research paper that's a project, and you have to project manage that. But maybe also, in addition to that, having a group project where you also have to together develop a project plan for a group project over a longer period of time. I think for a research project, maybe a 2 month time period is a good time period. If it's going to be a group project, you know, I think it's good to stretch folks, and say, maybe this is like a 4 to 6 month project that you have to work together on, and kind of lay out what is your project plan, and really put the onus on students to be able to kind of do this on their own. I understand that this is like of course, we're not talking about, fifth graders doing this. Although maybe I was very advanced kids these days. But, it's a little bit more of an advanced ask, but I think that's a really important experience to have. Um, Even when you're in high school, when you're in potentially middle school and when you're in high school, because it does set the stage for things that you'll experience when you're in college. When you're in college, you'll be kind of like just dumped into lots of different, experiences where you have to really manage your own time, and you don't have potentially the same structure that you did. I know that in my experience, I knew that I didn't have the correct project management skills when I went into college. I knew that I didn't have that experience when I was in high school. And so I had to kind of teach myself that. And so thinking back to high school and what I wish I could have really learned, I do think that would have been something that would have been extremely valuable and would have helped me as I was making that transition into college, to know that these are the skills that I needed to have, and I needed to kind of do it of my own volition. I needed to do it myself.
Yeah, thank you for that. How has technology affected your position?
Well, we do a lot of work you know with different analysis software, and so the kind of increase in kind of computing power, and then more sophisticated software that are available today has really helped us in that we're able to, for example, run models that simulate hydrology, basically water that's running within the river over the course of 10,000 years, in 4 different climate scenarios. If the weather continues to be the same as it is today versus if we experience, droughts that are worse than the droughts that we've had in the past, versus different scenarios of climate change impacts. And from those 10,000-year sequences, we're able to identify droughts that we should be planning for, or significant events in terms of precipitation and flooding. And so, that kind of work is very data and computing intensive. And we're able to do a lot of that because of different advances in technology that have been made. And plus, we're working with a lot of climate data and climate scientists, and they run different models, global climate models that are simulating, kind of the impacts of different emissions levels over time. And so we come out with temperature and precipitation data that influences all the rest of our work. So that that without those advances of technology and in terms of all of the advances of those models, we would be uh, really not in the same type of good position that we're in right now. Um, and then something as simple as just you know um, some of the more uh, basic like Microsoft collaboration tools that are available to us these days really help in terms of project management again. So being able to collaborate on documents that we're editing rather than sending documents back and forth. We're able to collaborate on a single document and we don't get lost in different versions and kind of have those mix-ups. That's been really helpful. We can all be working on the same document and having a video call at the same time, which is really helpful in the types of work that we do when we're summarizing the results of our different analysis and again trying to put that into a language that people are going to understand when we communicate that out. So yeah, collaboration tools have really helped us in being able to do our work more efficiently and more effectively and having a good understanding of those different collaboration tools as well as project management tools available have been has been really great.
Awesome. So my next question is, what are your work hours?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What are your work hours? Does it vary typically, or do you have kind of an 8 to 5, 9 to 4?
Typically, it'll be more of an 8 to 5 type of schedule, and sometimes we'll have meetings that we have to attend in the evening, whether that's a boards and commissions meeting or a community meeting. We may have to do some of those meetings during the day during work hours, but we often will have to do those in the evening because that's when people are out of work, and that's when people are available to attend, a community organization meeting. When we're currently in the process of implementing the Water Forward Plan because it was approved by Council in November of 2018. But when we really ramp up again and are updating this plan, there's a lot of community engagement that we do. And so we go out and we have, meetings and we make lots of presentations to, for example, neighborhood associations or different advocacy groups. And, we'll end up having quite a few meetings after work hours. So I guess during the plan development process, we went to, gosh, over 125 different community meetings and gave presentations. So there's, it ends up being, maybe 1 to 2 after hours meetings that we have to go to per week, kind of when we're in a really busy time. During this time, we're not doing many community meetings, but I do anticipate that as time moves along, we'll get back to where we were before.
Do you have, or with everyone kind of sheltering in place or even just working remotely, are y'all having meetings via virtual platforms right now?
Yeah, that's our main way of doing our work right now, and it's been really great. Actually, we've been able to kind of keep up our same level of productivity as we were before. Of course, acknowledging that this is a very stressful time for everyone, and we all need to take time to rest and to recover and to love ourselves during this time. So these virtual meeting applications have been really great, not just for doing our work, but also just for staying connected and being able to see our team members and check in and make sure that everyone is doing well. So that's been really useful. So much better than just a phone call. I really appreciate being able to see everybody's faces and to be able to kind of have that more personal interaction with folks.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really enjoying it as well. So just moving along, what are some of the positive aspects of your job?
The most positive aspect of my job is that I am able to um, get paid for helping my community and providing a service to my community. The um, most wonderful aspect of working in the public sector is that you know that your work is making a difference, and that is something that I'm very honored and proud to be a part of. Of course, everything that we do is all a team effort, and it's because of the work and the actions of lots of people, hundreds of people. But I'm always, just humbled by the thought that the work that we do today can be ensuring a resilient future for our community, decades down the line. And my son is here, and when I think about all the, everybody's children who are here, we're doing work that will hopefully ensure a brighter future for all of them.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. One thing I've noticed during these City of Austin interviews is a lot of the employees are very community-centered, community-driven, and it's really great because you have brilliant individuals that have unique jobs, but it's all for the greater good of the community. So I've been honored to be a part of those videos and learn that of each of you. So my next question is, what advice would you give a student who may be interested in working in your job?
I would say that it's, having the educational background is really important. Taking classes and things like hydrology and engineering and, broader kind of planning topics, environmental sciences, social sciences are also really important because, it's people that make policy. And I would say as well, it's important to kind of get out of your bubble and to talk to people who are in the field that you're interested in. So I was a pretty shy kid growing up, and it was always a pretty big lift for me to kind of put myself out there and tell someone like, hey, I'm really interested in the work that you do, and I would love to learn more. It was always kind of difficult for me to do that, and it always felt like kind of presumptuous, like, well, I'm just, who am I to ask for some attention in that way? But I think that that's a really important thing to grow into, is to be able to kind of like to feel comfortable putting yourself out there and to say like, hey, I have an interest here, and I would love for you to take some time out of your day and to um, tell me more about what you do, and to kind of like ask for what you want. If you want somebody to help you and you want somebody to mentor you, like, you shouldn't be afraid to ask for that. So that would be some of the greatest advice that I could give is, you create the connections that you're going to need as you move on in your educational, career and in your professional career. Um, you may not always have those connections built in, and you may not always, like, my family didn't know anybody. But it's up to you to create those connections for yourself.
That is really awesome advice. And just to follow up to that, it doesn't mean that the student has to be an expert in that field. Just be inquisitive to learn more, and
Right.
you'll be surprised. Well, that is a great follow-up to, and this is kind of my last question. I'm going to kind of wrap it up. There's multiple, but I'm going to wrap it up into one. And that is, so we have really great relationships with the school districts, surrounding school districts, and they're always looking for professionals to sit on their academic advisory board, or career academic advisory board, or professionals to come speak to the class, or even mentor their students. Of those that I've mentioned, would you or anyone in your department be interested in connecting to the school districts in that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Unless you have any last words, I think this kind of wraps up our interview.
Yeah, I think this was great, and thank you for inviting me.
All right. So thank you again, Marisa. Thank you all for joining us for our YouTube channel. We have tons of videos on our YouTube, so be sure to like, subscribe, and sign up for the little bells at the top to get notifications of our webinars. Currently, we're airing these every Wednesday at 12 p.m. If you have any questions, you can email us at k-flores 12awareness@wfscapitalarea.com. Thank you all. All right, I'm going to stop.